And a good evening to everybody, and welcome to another edition of Real Talks. Sorry about the delay. I just had a little accident with my beverage, but I had to clean that up. Anyways, I hope everybody had a fantastic Sunday. And yeah, so the reason I'm on this late, and for anybody who ended up watching the game, by the way, I guess I didn't watch the game, I watched a little of it. I just saw the score. It was a fantastic game. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, his third championship, back-to-back championships. Um, he's right. I mean, it's the first time since I guess the 03-04 Patriots that they've actually got a back-to-back champion. That's another thing for another time. What we are here for was everything in between, and it was all the trailers. Um, every single year we talk about, it's not so much the game now as it is what the trailers are going to be, because the trailers are they are what the go-to is. So every single year for decades now, it seems, the excuse me, the price to actually get one of your spots or a trailer per se, it has risen. Last year was, I think, 5.5 or 6 million. This year was $7 million, and that's just an enormous amount of money. But when you look at the potential, okay, and this is what we're talking about ROI, right? Return on investment. How many eyeballs are actually going to be watching the game? Hello, Dadpool. How are you? I hope you enjoyed the game. Um, yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things. So there are four events every single year that really are the quote major events. Okay, you have the Tonys, you have the Grammys, which we just had last week. We have the Oscars, okay, and then of course we have the big one, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the perennial one that um, is the if you want your movie to be seen, this is where you're going to do it. Doesn't matter what the age range or demographic is, because you are going to see it. And look, even if you don't see it live, you're gonna see it on YouTube. They always release it, a couple of minutes or like 10 minutes after. And so what we're going to do is go through. There were 6 trailers I want to touch upon, and we'll touch upon, when they get released and everything else. And because these are the 6 that I think are the most important 6, if you will. So the first one I'm going to start with, and I really liked it. I watched all of these, by the way. So it was Wicked. Now, Wicked, for anybody this is a musical. Okay, Wicked is a musical, and I went, okay. I mean, not that I'm the greatest. I'm not really a huge musical fan. I do like musical movies per se. Um, but this one, I saw the trailer and I was really okay. I really liked it. I mean, it was so. This is based on a story about how a green-skinned woman, was framed by the Wizard of Oz, became the Wicked Witch of the West. So this is a whole different type of adaptation of this. Look, we've seen the Wizard of Oz is one of the oldest, most told stories in the world. Okay, Kansas and Dorothy, and we've always seen it from their perspective, right? Dorothy's perspective. But we've never seen it from the witch's perspective. And that's what this brings us. So Ariana Grande is going to be starring this, and it's actually going to be split into 2 parts. And we've got Jonathan Bailey and Sydney Arvino. So it's, I'm really, what I liked about this trailer more than anything else was the color palette. The color palette here really worked for me, because we had shots like this, okay, which is fantastic to basically make, almost a W, okay? And then we had other shots that were bright and lively. I mean, there was one shot of her, Ariana Grande in a balloon. And then, you have just, I mean, this shot here, it just, of course, going up to see the wizard, um, the magical portion of this, I really like this. Am I going to go see this? Probably not. I'm going to be honest with you. But from a movie point of view, it was a different, cool twist on what we normally know as The Wizard of Oz, which is an age-old classic. And I think Wicked was a surprisingly nice trailer. I'm intrigued. I am too. I really am. I think that this has got it. And this isn't, remember, guys, this is in 1939. So, this is like enhanced graphics and everything else. So I really like this. Yeah, Wicked really, it's going to really do a lot of, it's not going to smash box office records by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's going to bring people into the theaters, and especially at a time when I don't think there's going to be a lot out either. I think it's going to do fairly well. And I want to say, I don't know if they gave I want to say this comes out in October or November. Don't quote me on that. Let me look right now. See if we can find out what a release date is. Okay, so this is a Thanksgiving release. This is November 27th. So I know the next part is supposed to be coming out the year after. This is going to do fairly well. This is going to do fairly well. So that's Wicked. I really liked it. It could be an early favorite for best production design. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Although I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, it depends on how much of the sets they want to build and everything else. I mean, a lot of this, could be CGI too. So yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I could see that though. So that is our first movie. Moving on. And by the way, guys, we're going to get into the meat potatoes of this in a minute. There's a little bit of buildup here, a little bit of drama. So the next trailer or spot, okay, that we really saw was Despicable Me 4. Now, these lovable minions, what can we say about them? This is just a fantastic summer film that's grossed a lot of money for Illumination. Okay. And it doesn't matter, what, which one it is and whatever else. Yeah. It's this is going to be a fun movie regardless. So now Grogu's he welcomes a new family member, the little baby, which we sees. And so they have to, it's just a cute movie. These minions they're adorable, right? And this, by the way, guys, it's going to be interesting because, of course, Illumination just had that huge box office success with Super Mario Brothers, these Super Mario Brothers, I should say. And that was a huge win for them. And, it was one of those things where, I mean, $1 billion movie, what are you going to do, right? So this is going to be a huge box office get for them. I love this, the little scene there with the minions, and then one of them takes the soda, fire in the in their little voice, fire in the hole, and he blows up the minion inside. It's pretty cute. But yeah, this looks fun. This is going to be a good summer fun movie for the kids to go see, and I can't wait. He's got the family there, and it's really, it looked fun. I'm not gonna lie, it looks a lot of fun, and this is just one of those movies that just get your popcorn, bring your kids, and this is going to be a kid-friendly film, and Yeah, I really, I'm excited to see what they're going to, do. I think that, once again, money wise, they're going to be all set with this. Okay. They're not looking to make a huge amount of money. Um, so that being said, yeah, that's going to be a good summer flip for the kids to go see. So, um, okay, moving on. Um, I'm going to just So we had a lot of good, solid. This was we don't have a lot of stuff coming out this year, but we've got enough stuff that it's going to keep everybody um, busy. And this summer is not going to be. Look out next year, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Um, look out next year because next year is going to be absolutely huge. Um, so, yeah, Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes has been around now for quite a long time. Okay, this is going to be Matt Reeves. He's bringing this back, and this is film. Of course, his last film, um, the Batman. We all know how that did, and so this is really going to be a huge film. And so this is the fourth installment into this. Tried to watch the first one a while back, and I never did. I never finished it. I should really go back and watch it. But so as I said, this is going to be the fourth installment. Now I remember, this is going to date me, but I remember the original Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston back in the day, and that was a really good movie. Nothing beats the original for me. But when they decided to make these, I went, okay. So you've got Rise of the Planet of the Apes, you've got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then of course you have War of Planet of the Apes. And then of course you have the newest one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And this occurs many years after the reign of Caesar. A young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. Now, this is actually being directed by Wes Bell, okay? And so William H. Macy is really the main, one of the main names in this. And I got to say, if this isn't a beacon for, I mean, we just had a brand new category come into play at the Oscars. It's going to be, I think, in next year's Oscars or 2026, one of the two. And that is the best casting. It's kind of like the best ensemble, if you will, for SAG. If this isn't like, and it's been up and down. Like, should we have, best stunts and everything else? And I think now that we're getting better with films, I think what we need to do is really seriously consider motion capture. Andy Serkis really has been doing this for the last 25 years. Okay. I mean, hell, even 30 years going back to the original Lord of the Rings. So, he's really made this a thing. I mean, when you think of motion capture, you think of Andy Serkis. I mean, he is a pioneer in that field. And now you have this, and visually, it looks stunning. Absolutely stunning. And don't be shocked, guys, if we're talking about next year's Oscars and we're talking about visual effects here, right? This is where it's going to be at. So I really think that that's going to be, that's going to be something to see. I mean, so the whole premise, from what I gathered from the trailer, is we have this young, I won't say young girl, but this girl, and she's hiding out from the apes. And we have, as the synopsis said, there is an ape that is trying to figure out what is right and what is wrong. And then, you have brief campfire scene and everything else. And yeah. And so another one wants to trap. I mean, there was that scene in the field. We had one of the apes going after him, and the other one, she was just about to get captured, and she swings on the horse with the other one. And it looks really action packed. I'm gotta say, this is going to be a good summer movie. What about the Mark? Well, you know what? I have to sit down and rewatch the whole thing. I got through about half of it years ago, but I really didn't watch the whole thing of it. So, but I think once I get into the whole trilogy, I'm really going to say, yeah, I will probably agree with you. But right now, it's, from what I saw, though, it looked pretty good, though. The original, like, Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg. So, but this is, you know, this is a good summer movie that I think everybody's going to be able to get behind. And it's coming out at a time, too, where, it's in May. It's at the end of May. And right in between May and the middle of June, that's your sweet spot. That's your sweet spot. I mean, unless you're like Marvel and you just capitalize the first week of May, but like that's your sweet spot, you know. And so I think this is going to do really, really well. And I'm really I'm going to try and something else besides everything else. I'm going to try and sit down and yes, yes, it is Memorial Day weekend. You're right. Thank you. I knew it was end of May. It's one of those things where it's box office hits. Mufasa, The Lion King, Deadpool 3, Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4, Mona 2, Joker, Folia, and Kingdom of the Land. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot coming out. There's a lot coming out, Kevin. You're absolutely right about that. And, and we'll get to Deadpool in a few minutes because there's a lot to say about that and how that whole thing's going to shake out. Mona 2 is going to be interesting. Mufasa, I think that's going to really that's going to have its viewership too. But yeah, so good morning to you too. Good morning. I was just, for all those that just joined, I was just going through the all of the Super Bowl trailers and spots that we here in America actually were able to watch, and the game just ended about 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, so that is another solid movie. And by the way, guys, I'll be very curious to see what the viewership is on this. I mean, because you're hoping as an advertiser, you're hoping that the game isn't a blowout. Because if the game's a blowout, you're like, good luck. You're very rarely going to try and get any eyeballs. Now, this was a very exciting game, and this is the second game that's gone into overtime in like the last 7 years, I want to say. So, it's definitely, this is definitely good for advertisers. That's for sure. So, and I'm almost done here. But yeah, this game was definitely good for advertisers. I didn't see any of the commercials. I'm sure that they'll be talking all about those tomorrow. So, okay. Just one more second. And we're going to get the next film up here. Let's see. Okay, well, I'll just tell you what it is, and then we'll go from there. So the next movie we have up, okay, and the trailer actually got released a couple days prior, was A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place, Day One. Now, anybody who's not familiar with this, this is huh, um, for anybody who's not familiar with this is a franchise that started, I want to say, back in 2015. And that 2018, I'm sorry, 2018. And Emily Blunt and John Krasinski starred in it. And the whole premise was that, and it was only an hour and 30 minutes, a family struggles for survival in a world where most humans have been killed off, but by blind but sensitive creatures, and they're forced to communicate in sign language to keep them at bay. So we've had A Quiet Place, okay, and then we had A Quiet Place Part 2, and the first one was a huge success. The second was even a bigger success. So, the third one, of course, what you have to do, right, is you have to go back and show how that happened. So, this is day one. Day one, of course, being when they got here, the creatures, and how they were able to take over the world. This is a beautiful shot. And the reason why I selected this shot, too, to show people is because you have the color palette there, and then you have, with the balloons, and then you have the things raining in from the sky, and then you have a very condensed, what looks like an alley. I mean, obviously, we're far off the ground, but alleyway. So we have a whole new set of stars, too. Okay? And this is pretty stacked. So experience the day went quiet. Okay, experience how it all began. And this is basically survival mode, right? And what are they going to do and everything else? And some of these shots are spectacular. And this is a horror movie. So there's two types of movies. You have your slasher movies. You have your psychological horror movies, okay, like a Psycho or a Silence of the Lambs or one of those that really messes with your mind. And then you have your creature, the things that are trying to get you and kill you. So this is a brilliant shot. This is like, I imagine, right after she's buried. Maybe a building falls on her or something, and we see her, and then she wakes up. And that's this next shot here, when she's, told to be quiet and then eventually explained to why. People are expecting Dune Part 2 to do better than the first film at the box office. People are going to be disappointed. Here's the thing, Kevin. I think the thing is that you have to remember, Dune Part 2 is something that people, when Dune came out, okay, Dune was one of those movies that there was not a lot of people didn't know of it. Okay, so, but you also had the pandemic that was just beginning. Now, I was one of the fortunate ones to be able to see Dune in the movies, in IMAX. But I think that the thing is that what you've seen of this movie, it looks amazing. And Denis Villeneuve is a visionary. And here's the other thing, too. We don't have a lot I mean, we have, we're going through these trailers here and everything else, and we do have these films coming out, but we don't have a lot coming out, especially in March. I mean, we're only 3 weeks away from March. So, and all of the reviews about it right now, and I'm not saying that's the end all be all, are going to be fantastic. I think it was a different economy back then too. Dune 2 is not, excuse me, Dune 2 is not one of those movies where this is just going to blow up the box office. So I don't want to say disappointed. I don't. Right now, it's on tracking, and I say tracking for $65 million, and that is a healthy opening weekend, especially for that kind of film. So, but getting back to A Quiet Place, so this is where it all began. This is the day that it all began, and they are trying to navigate how to beat these creatures. So this looks really good too. So as I was saying, there's 3 types of horror movies. You have your psychological horror, like The Silence of the Lambs, Psycho, any other film that'll mess with your mind, Jacob's Ladder, if you will. You have your slasher movies, okay, Jason, Freddy, and then you have your creature movies. Those creatures that are like aliens, for example, the xenomorphs trying to kill you, okay? So this is the same thing. This looks really scary. And the fact that they're able to actually be silent, communicate, and do all of that, when you don't have a lot on screen, there is something to be said about that. So I think that this is going to be fantastic. And this is going to come out and this is going to do quite a bit of money. So another quality film that I think people are going to be looking forward to, because the first 2 stories were very good. Okay, so now that we have that done, we've got a couple left. Okay. So just going to load all these on here. So guys, in the comment section, what I'd like you to do is leave me your favorite movie spot of the Super Bowl. And what I'd also like you to do is leave me which one you are most looking forward to. So, because there is, and by the way, guys, I'm probably not going to cover everything here. And that's just because of time. So that isn't that I missed this or didn't do that. No, there was a lot of stuff. So, but okay. So there was one more there. I think I need to look to see if I can find. And let's see. Okay, I guess. Okay, so I guess I don't have the starting photo for that. Anyways, favorite movie spot, Deadpool 3. Okay, very cool. Yeah, and I think that was everybody's favorite spot. We'll get to that one in a couple minutes, I promise. So there was another film that had another, I mean, everybody knew it was coming out, but had a spot too. Okay, and it was The Fall Guy. So Emily Blunt's got a big year. Okay, I mean, she's going to be in the Oscars next month, obviously. And then you have, I mean, really 2 stars here. Emily Blunt, okay, and then, who's just in Oppenheimer, okay, showing her prowess there. And then, of course, Ryan Gosling's on fire right now with Barbie. He's up Academy Award nominee. So, but everybody had been looking forward to this. Now, anybody who's not familiar with The Fall Guy, The Fall Guy is a remake of a 1970s show. Okay. And it was starring Lee Majors. Now, you got to remember, too, this is back in the day with like The Bionic Woman, shows like that. So, Gosling plays a stuntman, and he was having a relationship with Emily Blunt, and they want to essentially kill. First, we don't know why, okay, but there's a sequence in the trailer where Gosling has to basically get his way out of a certain situation and jump off a roof and everything else. So this looks like a lot of fun, though. This looks like it's action-packed. It looks like there's going to be a lot of comedy in there, a little bit of romance. I mean, anybody who's seen the the trailer that came out tonight, it looked, with all the graphics and everything else, that's what it is. Romance, action, comedy. So it looks fun. And of course, the other big trademark was the truck, right? So all of the episodes of all the episodes, but one of the major players in the show was his pickup truck. So of course we have that pickup truck. Now it looks like he's jumping off it there. I'm happy to see that Ryan did most of his stunts. I mean, we don't know if he's doing this stunt, but for the most part. So I think that this is going to be a fun, another fun summer, blow 'em up, action-packed, kind of funny, romantic film. So this looks good too. This looks very good too, and I think that's, yeah, I'm intrigued. I got to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. I'm intrigued because not only do you have 2 stars, but the comedy aspect of it. You've got the I'm just intrigued. I'm just intrigued in how that whole thing plays out. So, yeah, the Fall Guy is going to be interesting. So, okie dokie. So, moving on. So I think we are at the last particular film, and this is the one everybody was waiting for, right? I mean, this is the one that we knew it was going to be, and it was okay. How are they going to do it? And so let me just, okay, hold on. Okay, let me just get get all the correct things up here. 2 seconds, guys. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to load the pictures. And in the meantime, perfectly timed right after the coin flip. Oh, I didn't see when it aired. So, but that's it. That is the money one that everybody's looking forward to. This is arguably the biggest movie anticipation for 2024. Hands down. And I watched the trailer, so I didn't watch it live. I watched the trailer, and I gotta say that I liked it. I really, really, really liked it. Um, I will say this: I don't love the title. I know. I think Deadpool, and maybe they'll change it. I hope they do. But I like Deadpool 3. It has a better. I mean, you had Deadpool 2. Deadpool and Wolverine just doesn't. And I understand why you need. By the way, I like the font. I don't know if you need Wolverine in there, but that tells me that he's going to share the screen just as much as DP. And if that's the case, fantastic. Um, so a couple of things I really noticed right off the top. Hilarious, right off the beginning. But so anybody who's anybody and has been watching all of the MCU stuff, obviously, TVA. This is definitely going to tie into Loki in some capacity or another. Now, I have my stuttering here because I'm trying to. How do I say this? I am trying to. I have always said, personally speaking, that I don't believe they should tie it all in. I don't. That's just me. This is going to be the MCU versions of Lethal Weapon with these two. That's good. I would like to see. I would really like to see that actually. So of course, anybody who's not familiar with the TVA, okay, is they are the Time Variance Authority. So they are the ones that, are in charge of the time-space continuum, I guess. So when he gets pulled in, he's like, I never left, and of course this is that scene there where he's saying, well, I never left anywhere. And so we see all these action sequences and everything else. And one of the great, by the way, I will say this. I really did like when he was, reloading and how the clips went into the guns like that with the slow motion aspect of it. That was pretty cool. But of course, there are formulas to trailers. Whether people want to believe it or not, there are formulas to trailers. And in the last 15 seconds, there is always what I call the oh shit shot. The oh shit. Like that's the water cooler shot. That's the one you're talking about with your friends tomorrow, at work. Say, did you see that trailer and everything else? And did you see what they did? I mean, Marvel is a genius at it. I mean, you go back to look at any trailer that they've ever cut over the past 20 years, right? What have they done? Excuse me, that last shot, whether it's, Spider-Man flying over Captain America's head in Civil War or, anything. And this shot was magical. Absolutely magical. Magical. That's the only word you could put to it because, you don't, of course, who it is. And, so this is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for this. Um, this is going to change the game for Marvel. This is going to really change the game for Marvel. Because what this does, let's talk about a couple of things here. First and foremost, they're going to pay off all the jokes. All of the Hugh Jackman jokes for the first two movies, they're going to get paid off. Okay? Or the Wolverine jokes, they're going to get paid off. Then, on top of all of that, okay, you have one of the original X-Men. I mean, we saw at the end of, I forgot what, it's been a while. One of the last films, okay, we saw what the end credit sequence was, okay? And that kind of said, okay, now we have the X-Men are coming. We have one of the original X-Men, okay, that are going to be in this film. And it's going to be fantastic. I mean, Hugh Jackman is one of those people. You look at his illustrious career, okay? He's an Academy Award winner. He's a dancer. He's a singer. And when they picked him to do this role all those years ago, back in 2000, he got jacked, literally, no pun intended. He was ripped for this. And that being said, you know, we all know him. When we talk about Hugh Jackman, we don't talk about The Greatest Showman. We talk about Wolverine. We talk about the X-Men. We talk about X-Men 2. Deadpool 3 box office total prediction, $950 to $1 billion. I don't know if it's going to be that much. It's going to do bank, though. It's going to do serious. It's going to depend on a couple of things, Kevin. First and foremost, what else is coming out before that week, the week before it, and what else, and I don't know off the top of my head, so the week before it and the week after, or the week of it, okay? That's because competition, right? If those people that didn't get to go see that movie prior, in the last week, they'll go see that week, okay? Now, this summer is definitely not going to be packed like this 2024 is not going to be packed like 2023. So that's number one. Number two, it's going to depend on overseas. What is it going to do overseas? So, you know, when you look at what the other Deadpool movies have done, okay? So that's something to take into consideration too. And then lastly, it's, you know, the amount of staying power. Now, obviously, it has the staying power. We all know that. So let's see here, just for fun. Okay. Okay, so Deadpool made $363 million here in the States in 2016. $781 million overall. Deadpool 2, when it came out 2 years later, okay, made $324 million, and it made $786 million worldwide. Now, Deadpool 2, okay, finished, it made $461 million overseas, and opening weekend made that was the production budget. It made $125 million, $125.5 million opening weekend. I don't know if it's going to be able to do that. If I were a betting man, and I am, I would probably say that it's probably gonna do right around the same numbers. Look, if it makes $800 million, it's a win. It's an absolute win for it. But although it could very well do over $100 million or $800 million. So the Easter eggs are great. The Secret War comic books on the ground next to him in the end scene, along with the soda that kills the Hulk, that killed Stan Lee in the Hulk movie on top of it. Yes, I didn't pick those up. And I'm glad somebody else did. That's very cool. That's very cool. I'll have to go back and watch that again just to see that. Despicable Me 4 and Twisters are not going to stop this film from making a profit. I didn't like Twisters, and that's a film I didn't cover. I didn't like Twisters. Look, I think that, and I'm trying to think of his name. Yeah, I didn't care for Glenn Powell. I didn't care for that trailer because the thing is that at the end of the day, I've already seen the movie. I already saw it with Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton. I didn't need to see it again. And Glenn Powell is an actor. Look out for him in the next 5 years. But that being said, when Glenn Powell auditioned for Top Gun Maverick and he wanted to play a different role, and he didn't get the role that he wanted, so he kind of turned it away. Tom Cruise had a conversation with him, and he said, he's like, thank you for meeting with me, but I'm really not going to take the role. He's like, but he was very appreciative of what he did. And he said, how did you get to be where you are? And Tom Cruise said one important thing to him. I don't pick the movie. I pick the role. And that's what he did. And now Glenn Powell's a superstar. I mean, he's not Bradley Cooper or a A-list guy yet, but he is getting there. And he just needs his own franchise, and that might be that. I didn't care for the Twisters one, though, at all. That's just me personally speaking. I think the audience is clamoring for this movie. Billionaire, I have no doubt. Look, I'm just judging it on the past two films. That's all. The past two films made around $780 million. Okay. So, that I have no doubt it can hit $1 billion. And by the way, this doesn't need to make $1 billion to be a success, right? This does not need to make $1 billion to be successful. Keep that in mind, and you're well aware of that, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, as long as it moves the story forward, okay, in the MCU, then it did its job. Hands down. It completely did its job. And I think that's a major thing for it. It seems that it has a ceiling of almost $400 million. So, even if it makes $800 million, that's still incredible. I'd rather have it make $800 million and be a mediocre movie, because you are going to have people out there. I've gotten away from it a little bit, and I was just talking about the money, but people are going to say, oh, it didn't make $1 billion. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be successful, So there is one other movie, and I don't have the graphics here, and I put out a small little Twitter poll about it earlier. And actually, let me bring it up because I thought it was interesting. Because we've always seen how movies try to promote well in advance. And there's a movie coming out in October. And I'm kind of shocked there wasn't a trailer for it. And I was on the fence about it. I'm like, do they do it? And it's $7 million. It's $7 million. I get it. And I was thinking about Joker 2. would it be wise for Warner Brothers to put out a trailer now? Just because we are in the middle of February, almost. Okay? I mean, we're 7 months away. And then, because this is the last, unless you're going to do it for the Oscars next month, that's the only other place I could see that this would make sense. If you do it for the Oscars, okay. But I just, there's no other place. I mean, maybe you put it in front of a Warner Brothers movie, but I don't see that. That's just me personally. But yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys thought that, it was too early. And then the question becomes, okay, if it's too early now, when do you start? When do you drop the first trailer? Because usually you're going to start to drop 2 or 3 trailers. Okay. And when you drop 2 or 3 trailers, at what point do you, at what point would you consider doing it? Does Warner Brothers own TNT? If so, I would just debut it with the NBA playoffs. I'm not sure. I do not know about that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. But, that maybe. But then again, yeah, that's a possibility. But not everybody's a sports fan either. I mean, that's the drawback. That's the drawback. Okay. I think that maybe you do it during the Oscars. I think that would be more of a hit. I do. I think that would be more of a hit for people. And if you knew, let me ask you this question, guys. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. If you knew for a fact that that Warner Brothers comes out and says, we are going to do Joker 2. We are going to put the full trailer. You'll be able to see the full trailer exclusively the night of the Oscars, during the Oscars. And you don't watch the Oscars because it's boring, like the first couple hours. You just want to see the meat and potatoes. Would you sit and watch the Oscars just to watch the trailer? Or would you wait and then just go see it the next day? So now, speaking of online, I have no doubt they very well could drop it tomorrow. Like that. They would break the internet. They would break the internet. Because that's the kind of movie, it is either the number one. I mean, we just talked about Deadpool. Okay. We just talked about Deadpool. That's probably the number one. Joker 2 is probably the number 2. I mean, you could flip-flop them if you wanted. But those are the 2 most anticipated movies of this year. Dune 2 is up there, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have the same fervor. You could drop it tomorrow online, and it would blow up. Imagine a Joker 2 and a Beetlejuice trailer 2 tomorrow. Yeah. Look. Yeah. And that's even another one. Beetlejuice 2 trailer, Yeah. I don't think they would. Look. There are studios out there that have huge movies, but they won't spend. Look, $7 million to studios to promote a film for 30 seconds? That's a lot of money. That's why they do it a couple of days before. They'll give you this, they'll drop the full thing. That's what they did for Day One, Quiet Place Day One. They dropped it a couple days early, and then they put the spot on the show, the game. So, the Fall Guy did the same thing. So they're trying to save money in that respect. You want to see new footage. That's the key thing. Are there going to be any new shots in there that we didn't see in the first trailer? But yeah, I mean, getting back to my point, money for the Super Bowl in a 30-second spot has gone up every single year for like the last 25, 30 years. I think last year was maybe, I want to say 5.5, close to $6.25 million. But that's because of the number of eyes on it. So now something I've always wondered about, okay, is you send your spot in. Let's say you're Warner Brothers and you send your Marvel, okay, in this case, you send your spot in, write your check out for $7 million, and you send that in too, right? And so it's going to be there. I've always wondered, okay, and anybody, if you're in the movie industry and an executive or anything about trailers and this type of thing, I'd love for you to reach out to me or leave comments down in the comment section because I've always wondered about this. If you're a studio and you send your money in, you send your spot in, do you have a choice of where it's going to be put? Or they say, look, you can give us an extra $2 million and you will get first-rate spot. You will get, first quarter, 6 minutes in. And boom. And that means as many eyeballs are going to be on this. Or, whatever spot you want. Because I think, and that's another way they could actually get studios to pay more money, if they could actually pick their spots, literally, and say, look, you'll be here, second TV timeout. Boom. I think that would be something that, not only CBS and all these networks making more money to run the promo or the spot, but I think that it would be interesting. So that all being said, it's one of those things where I think that, and look, next year is going to be huge. I'm telling you that right now. I'm surprised Paramount didn't do more spots, especially with getting the home discount. Yeah. Paramount, yeah. Maybe. I mean, Paramount is, don't forget though, it's $7 million. And they're not going to just, it's not like you can just cut it up into two 15-second, spots. It has to be one spot at 30 seconds and $7 million. That's why you never see a trailer on the Super Bowl because it's so expensive. Next year is going to be even more expensive. My guess is it's going to be around $8 million, because the thing is that next year is going to be huge. When we talk about Super Bowl trailers, next year is going to be huge. So looking toward next year, if I had to guess, you're going to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2. Okay? You're going to see Superman Legacy. You're probably going to see an Avatar trailer. I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if you saw a Batman Part 2 trailer. I know there's a couple other ones I'm leaving out, but that next year is going to be huge. Much bigger than this year. Much bigger than this year. So, they're going to make a lot of money. I can't even fathom. So, if you're an advertiser, and by the way, if you're even a movie studio, you're praying that it's a good game. I mean, we were lucky enough that We had a game that, went into overtime and everything else, because advertisers are crossing fingers because they don't want a blowout in the first quarter and a half because people will just go click and turn it off. They will. And when you spend that much money, you're trying to get as many, sure, they can watch it online, but at the same time, there's a difference between watching it online. I mean, Deadpool, how pumped was you to see that trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine? I mean, he is the ultimate. When we talk about ultimate fans, Deadpool is the ultimate Deadpool fan. Okay, or one of the ultimate Deadpool fans. So when he sees this, okay, and I guess you said it was right after the coin flip, you probably lost your shit. You lost your shit because it's like this is what you had been waiting for all your days. I was counting down the seconds. I held my feet. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's it. And that if you can get movies to do that and have you that excited, you've done your job. But this was a big year. This was a big, big, big year, and next year is even going to be bigger. And so there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be covering most of. I won't say all. I'm not going to promise all. And by the way, guys, there are films here that I did not touch upon, okay, that are definitely worthy of talking about. For example, Kung Fu Panda 4 is definitely going to do a lot of, good money. There was a couple other films in there that are just, Twisters, I think it's everybody loves a good disaster film. Everybody, whether it's Armageddon, whether it's, Twister, whether it's, Volcano back in the day with Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Heche, it doesn't matter. Another one, you're right, Inside Out 2. I saw that too. I didn't cover it. That looks fun. That looks a lot of fun, But there's a lot of stuff, a lot of these spots I didn't cover that are not because I didn't cover them because I didn't think they were worthy. I just didn't cover them because I didn't have the time. So, yeah, that's that. I think that don't be shocked. I will say one last thing. Do not be shocked either if you have some of these other films that we talked about, like a Joker 2, like Beetlejuice 2, like, a couple of these other films. Don't be shocked if they drop trailers tomorrow. Don't. Because they didn't want to spend the money. Right? Look at last year. How many trailers did we have last year? And we did this last year too. How many trailers did we have last year that I was shocked, about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, that they didn't drop it. And then the Oscars was, right around the corner. And then boom, guess what? They dropped that because it had been over a year. Bang, they dropped the trailer. Because they don't want to spend the money. Because that's the other reason too, is there's so much stuff. There's so many out there. I covered 6 tonight. You talked about Inside Out 2. You talked about Beetlejuice 2. There's 2 more I didn't even touch on. Joker 2. There's 3 movies right there that I didn't even touch upon. And there were 6 that I did. So they didn't want to be, grouped in or lost or anything else. Because those kind of movies deserve full-blown trailers. Not just a 30-second spot. Twitter X broke down to the right was so unhinged. I would have loved, and I'll bet you Vegas had a line on this. I would have loved to have seen the over-under how many times they showed her. I don't know. I think that would have been hilarious. I I really hope this doesn't. I hope it's done and put to bed. Now that it's confirmed they are dating, I hope they can put it to bed. Um, because this is going to get ridiculous. It really is. But yeah, guys, there is so much out there. Go enjoy any one of these movies that I talked about tonight. Even the ones I didn't talk about tonight, like a Beetlejuice, like a Joker, like, Inside Out 2, like a Kung Fu Panda. I mean, just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean they're not they're going to do a lot of money. I can't wait. I can't wait for Dune 2. That's like the first movie this year I'm going to go see in theaters. I haven't been to the theater at all this year. So Dune 2, guys, if you haven't seen the 7-minute preview, it's a one scene. Oh, it's amazing. Dune 2 is just, look for Dune 2 next year to be right in the mix for a lot of technical awards. So that all being said, yeah, I think that this was a good year, guys. Next year, and I said it earlier, and we'll wrap this up here in a couple minutes, is that something else that Jeremy Fowler just messaged me about, Knuckles too. We have this brand new Sonic series that's coming out. They briefly had a little something that got put down there. So my son is saying, "Oh, that's awesome." Tell me if you enjoy that. I've heard a lot of negative things about it. I mean, I haven't seen it personally, but the press I've seen about it is just not been good. I want to, definitely. I'll be curious to see if there's an Easter egg there at the end, though. But that's fantastic. Okay, guys. So that's going to do it for me. So, quick update. So, this upcoming week, Tuesday through Thursday, I'm going to sit down probably tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to work tomorrow, but I'm going to get in some other stuff done. I am writing the script right now for Anatomy of a Movie. So I'm going to actually start to work on that. I'm gathering the video. I have a process for that. It's going to be about 20 to 25 minutes. This is going to be like a StreamYard thing. I'm actually going to put together an edit and actually do it. So it's going to be different. So you're not going to see me, or you might see me briefly, but it's not going to be a StreamYard thing. This is going to be an actual video. So that I am going to sit down and watch a movie or two, or at least one movie. And so that way I can get you something about that. The other thing, too, is, I've got a couple of, I won't say actors that I'm considering doing for different parts of it. And that's, maybe Jamie Foxx was the one I was thinking about doing for that. Of course, Collateral, and he's got a very interesting career, so we might do that. So, all that being said, I want to thank you guys for hanging in with me, because it's been a chaotic week. I actually took today off just so I could do this, which leads me into my next point, my final point of the night. Memberships, guys. Right now, my goal is to try and get as many memberships as possible. Right now, this is completely free. I've made it absolutely dirt cheap for you guys to become a member. Okay, the first month is going to be absolutely free. Okay, and then the smallest one is $3 a month. That's a cup of coffee at Starbucks. That's a gallon of gas right now. Okay, $10 a month is the biggest one. Okay, I'm trying to get, my goal is to try and get between 15 to 20 paid memberships by the end of 2024, and hashtag the road to 2000. So I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. So what that means is I need your support. Whether you just pop in here for a minute, okay, or you pop in here and you watch it for a few minutes and you're still interested, okay, consider becoming a member, okay? Because what it's going to do is a couple things. Number one, it's going to support me, okay, and support the channel, okay? Number two, it's going to give you guys better content, okay? And if nothing else, okay, basically it's one of those things where I know that you guys are liking the content. And if you don't ever want to do, if you don't want to become a member, hit that like and subscribe button, guys, because that tells me you enjoy the content and you are keep coming back and watching. And the other thing too is, okay, I have so much stuff on the channel. Okay, I've perfect movies. I have a monthly series every single month. I'm doing another what I'm considering calling a perfect movie. Okay, I break that down in complete detail, not scene by scene, but what I really liked about it and everything else. I give you history about the film. I talk about the film. So that's a monthly series. I'm in the process of getting Anatomy of a Movie ready for you guys. Okay, I'm doing retrospectives right now. I've done a couple of retrospectives, and I'm going to continue to do them. Whether it's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, whether it's Street Fighter, whether it's Quiz Show, whether it's any one of these retrospectives. That's my main focus for you guys. I've got a whole list right here of 25. You can't really see it because this is a green screen. But 25 or 30 movies that I have here, and I'm going to sit down and watch for you guys. I'm talking about movies like For the Love of the Game, okay, with Kevin Costner, or Taken, of course, or Nightmare on Elm Street, or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or we were just talking about Joker a couple minutes ago. So all of those movies I'm going to be doing retrospectives for, okay, throughout the year. This month right now, I'm going to be doing, Black History Month. I just did Get Out for the perfect movie. I want to be talking about, African American filmmakers and directors, whether it's Spike Lee or Jamie Foxx or Morgan Freeman or Denzel Washington or Sidney Poitier, In the Heat of the Night, all these other films. That's my passion. I'd love for you guys to support me with my passion. Not to mention trying to get interviews here and there. Okay. So that's the other thing too. So for $10 a month, guys, my point is this: for $10 a month, there's so much stuff in the channel. You can't get anything. Anywhere you go, all this stuff for $10 a month. Nowhere. And that's the thing. Like, I want to make this a full-time gig for you guys. So, Jamie Foxx was amazing in Law Abiding Citizen Bait. Movies not talked about so much. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Law Abiding Citizen, but yeah, he was good in that. I mean, I think for me, Collateral and Ray. 2004 is the year of Jamie Foxx. I mean, I read the other day he was like, I thought to save the stat for the stream, I think he was one of only 3 or 4 guys ever to be nominated for 2 different movies on the same night. I have to get the stat right, but okay, that's gonna do it. So do the 3 things that I always tell you guys to do: be safe, be careful, and have a great rest of the day tomorrow, or have a great night and have a great day tomorrow. I will see you back here on Tuesday, and that's going to do it. My name is David Steele, and you have been watching Real Talks. Bye-bye, guys.